Hello, everybody. This episode is going to be about why your offers are confusing people or your multiple session types are confusing people, even if those session types / offers are beautiful and fun and technically should book. Okay. Real quick, inside the membership, we're going to be planning out spring, 1 hour a morning over 3 mornings. It's going to be February 24th, 25th, 26th. The 23rd is the AI Overview class. So it's going to be a busy week in there, but we're going to be outlining exactly what your spring offers are going to be. On the second day, we're going to be talking about copy and language. And then the third day, we're going to be outlining some booking paths. And I want it to be pretty interactive, so I want people to bring questions. So if you are struggling to book spring or curious about it, just join the little membership and you can not only come to that, but the AI Overview class. You can start writing your blog posts in a way that serves you for search going forward in 2026. Okay. So this is a common problem, even for me. It's a common problem for a lot of photographers I know, except those rare ones that just have one offer, those amazing unicorns out there that just have one session type, who often are like, I'm failing because I only have one session type. The beauty of the simplicity. The more simple we can get our businesses, the better. Not only for us, for our minds, but for our clients. And then last week or one of the weeks, at some point in time, I talked about one of the best things you can do, I think it was last week, is not making your business responsible for your sole creative functioning in the world, because that's a lot of pressure to put on a business. So if your business was simplified offers, clear booking strategies, you knew what your marketing plan was because of that simplicity, and then your creativity wasn't tied up in your marketing to your photography business or even your sessions themselves. Yes, they are inherently creative. Yes, your job is fun. But if the pressure was off of if those were two separate things, sometimes the need for creativity and newness brings complexity where complexity is just creating confusion. So if we have too many offers, too many options, it kills people's decisions, because you don't want people to be sitting on your site like that. You've done the hard visibility work to get them on your site, and you don't want them to be sitting there being like, what the hell is even going on over here? It's just like when you go to, what is that restaurant that has a literal picture book as a menu? I haven't been there. The Cheesecake Factory. You go in there, you're flipping. I do like the feeling of the flippy pages. You know, they're like laminated and I could just flip through there and get into some sort of flow state. But deciding is really hard. So you don't want it to feel like that. You want it to be really clear. Like, this is what I want. This is what I fell in love with visually. Come to your website. There it is. That's what I want. I can easily get it. That's what we want it to look like. So that unclear positioning is hurting bookings. So let's chat about what offer overload actually looks like. So the typical photographer, I look at so many photographer websites, so I can guarantee that this is true. And often the offers, the session types live in many different places. Like, we have a session booking page that has some available there, but not all of them. And then if you want other ones, they're over here. But the only way to get to know those offers or like learn about availability is writing in. And then over here, you may have an offer that was mentioned, but there's no information about it. So that's very, very common. Also, another little side note is that one-on-ones, I have room for one more for a February start. So if you're looking into doing a one-on-one for February, then just grab one. $600 if you're inside the membership for 3 calls over however long. So if you want to spread it out over 3 months and just do 1 call a month as you're working through marketing, that's fine. And then $750 if you're not inside the membership. So just wanted to say that, because so much of the clarity that I get as a marketing educator comes from looking at your guys' websites and helping you to refine them, and then looking at what you guys are offering, and just that outside set of eyes to be like, wait a second, as a potential client, I'm getting really lost right here in this process that you've set up. And because you know so much about your offers and your session types, it's often that second set of eyes that can help you clear out the booking path so that the person can go from visibility to actually booking. And the thing that's stopping them often is just confusion that you can't see because you're too in it. Okay, so this is what it looks like a lot of times. It's like I have mini sessions in any given season. I have studio sessions, outdoor sessions, theme sessions, newborn, maternity, milestone, personality portraits, different prices everywhere, different deliverables depending on the page. So it's like if that's how it feels, and that's often how it feels for me. Like I want you guys to know that I have a lot of offers and therefore I've created a lot of work for myself. I don't think that my way is the best way. That's what I want to do. I've unfortunately punched myself in the face with all my offers. I just am living in this reality that I've created. I've created a lot of work for myself. I don't want you to have to create a lot of work for yourself if you don't want to. I'm also a marketing educator and someone who's obsessed with marketing and someone who understands Facebook ads and someone who understands funnels. And I have all of this knowledge. And so I can carry that heavy burden on my back. But for the average photographer, I don't want you to have to do that. But what you think when you're doing that is like, I'm giving people options, right? It's like from your side, you're like, I want them to be able to get whatever they want. So then you're like, this or this or this or this. I don't want to lose anybody. But from the client side, it feels like I don't know what's best for me. I don't really understand the difference. I don't understand the difference between a personality portrait and a happy kiddo shoot. Like I've seen those types of similar types of session types where it's like, does the happy kiddo, is that only the happy personalities, and then the personality portraits we cover all the, like it can be very unclear. So then they're like, on the client side, they're like, okay, I'm overwhelmed. We all know that feeling. Like the last time you bought anything, that minute that you feel overwhelmed, what do? You go away from that site. Your brain is like, and we're done. Like I do that to myself a lot. I'm very bad, horrible at buying things for myself. I will buy clothes, for example, for my girls. I love to buy them clothes. Buying things for myself is really hard. So I have to be a complete maniac when I buy something. So the other day, the last thing I bought was this jean jacket from Free People. Because I try to, when I do buy something, I do keep it for a really long time. So I try to buy really like higher quality stuff. I don't know the back end of how Free People, if that's actually high quality or not. I feel like the pieces I've got from them have been pretty decent, especially in the like jacket department. Okay. So I saw it. Someone who works at Free People was like, hey girl, look at this coat on Instagram. And I was like, oh, and then I knew what my brain was going to do. I was going to go to the website, and I was going to look at the coat, and I was still going to like it because it was still cute and it was still exactly what I sort of been looking for. But then I was going to be like, but look at all the other options that are available. And I would start looking around, and then I would just close out and never buy the jacket. That is like very common buying behavior for me. So instead, what I had to do is lock in and be like, I have my credit, I'm going to have my debit card right here, and I'm ready to, if they have it in my size, I'm going to buy it. And that's what I did. And I didn't look at a single other jacket that Free People had to offer, because that's just how my brain has to do it. So if we take that exact scenario and we think about a client who's coming to your site who wants to book a family session, if you have all these options available, it asks too much of their brain to try to figure out what the heck is the right one for them. So if you have a lot of offers, you have to offer a lot of clarity. You have to offer a lot of education, right? That's just part of it. I know I ask a lot of my clients to figure out my session times, because I have adventure, which is mountain. And then I have midway, which is like not mountain, but not the park. And then I have the park. And so they have to decide which one of those they want. In an ideal world, I wish that I just offered one session types, because it would be so much more clear. But because I offer these adventure sessions that are only available X times a year, I have created this complication for myself. And it's not the path. It's not the way. Don't do it. Don't be like me in that way. Be like me in other ways, like silly goose. Don't get caught up in comparison. Don't be afraid of your own voice. You're not annoying. Your face looks fine, but don't be like me in my confusion. Okay. So even if the offer is gorgeous, right? So we can get into this idea of like, it's such a good offer. I know as a photographer, it's such a good offer. This happens to me every single year with the freaking Mother's Day sessions. every time. I'm like, the Mother's Day sessions, I have a florist, it's going to be beautiful. And then it's just like really hard to get people to understand the value of that, probably because they go to my site and they're like, well, why would I book a motherhood session when I can just do a family session this summer or whatever happens? But I'm like, what is happening because this is so pretty? So it doesn't necessarily mean if it's like, it doesn't mean it's unsuccessful because it's not trendy enough or pretty enough or well done enough. Like you can have simple white studio sessions, like simple white family studio sessions. And if that's all you sell, that was the only thing you'd sell, the clarity around that session type would be at 100%. You can picture this as a client. You're like, see on Instagram, see on Pinterest, see somewhere, see your friend post an all white background, simple studio shoot. And you decide that's what I want. I don't want to go outside this year. I don't want to run around in the mud. I don't want to do the complicated styling. I don't want to have to deal with the weather. I want to go in the studio. And you arrive on a website and every single thing on there is dedicated to a simple white backdrop family session in a studio. There's no confusion. There's no questioning. Should I go with this or that? Or I'm not quite sure. Or what are we doing? It's like, there it is. There's a thing I like. If the price is good, I'm on the books. That's the ideal, even though it doesn't feel like the ideal because you think, oh, I'd be leaving all these things out. Not necessarily. You could be creating such clarity that there wouldn't be this confusion. Confusion kills decision making. That's true for every aspect of life. So clients, when you don't have that, which the majority of people don't, I'm aware of that. Majority of people do not have one thing, especially if it's outside, because you're just right off the bat contending with seasons. Like if I was like, I'm only an outdoor family photographer, well, right now the outside looks like a big smear of poo. So I can't sell, golden hour sun if we're in February in the Pacific Northwest. I already have a task of educating, differentiating, helping my client understand. But I'm giving you that example of the all white studio session so you can get clear in your mind about what that would feel like on the consumer side. Instead, the clients are like, what do you specialize in? What are you known for? What do most families choose? They want guidance that's often not given. One of the reasons I created on my homepage a lookbook is to help my clients feel guided through my complication that I created for myself. So that, first of all, that's like a 80-page PDF or something. Like it's a massive document that's in there. It breaks my sessions down by season, by session type. It's like a big, overwhelming sort of document in itself. But I had to create something like that because I wanted to create clarity and guidance. And it was a big undertaking. So instead, what I see on a lot of family photographer websites is the confusion and the overwhelm is still there and the guidance is missing. Hold on, gotta switch my paper. Okay, so what's often happening is when you're thinking about your offers, you're thinking about the format instead of like the outcome. And thinking about the outcome, if you're like, how do I become more clear? How do I become more of a guider? How do I become more of a guider on my website? You want to think about the outcome. So like, what are clients actually caring about when they get to your site, and what of your session offers would help them get the outcome that they're looking for? So is it photos that you were trying to get in a specific time frame? That would be like milestone sessions. Oftentimes milestone sessions, it's just like milestone sessions, $300. And that's all the information. Milestone sessions, if you offer something like that in a studio, should have its own info page that has everything that I would need to know about milestone sessions. So I have a 9-month-old. I want to capture their 9-month-oldness. Help me, please figure out what to do and why it's meaningful and how you're the one that's going to get me the outcome that I'm looking for. So you want clients to buy things like transformation and emotion and story instead of like session length, because oftentimes that's how you guys are differentiating things. You're like, this is 20 minutes, this is an hour, this one's this long. It's these little details that are really hard for clients to emotionally grab onto. So like if you said my milestone sessions are 45 minutes because within that time frame I've learned from my great giant expertise that I have here that that's just about enough time for a 9-month-old to 1, last in front of the camera and 2, come out of their shell. So is that language available on the majority of photographer websites I now look like a family photography website? I'm just going to morph into one that I look at. No, it says 20 minutes. And then a full session is an hour. And people are like, why the heck are they different times? I don't understand. We understand because we're in the business. They do not. So a lot of times what's happened is these offers that you have, like mini sessions, I'll give for an example. You try to put a full offer out there, like a full hour, full offer, whatever it is, like a full session. I use the word offer because session types, that's basically what we're talking about. But like, you want to do that, but instead you're doing seasonal minis that get majority of your marketing. This is a common trap that I see. So like photographers are very quiet about their full sessions, very, very, very loud about their mini sessions. And then they're surprised that clients just wait for the mini sessions without understanding that the mini session may not, and for a majority of clients that I work with, a mini session is not the reason that they like my brand. The reason that they like my brand is because the kids look relaxed and playful and open, and it's because we have 50 minutes together, and it's in the last 20 minutes that everybody chills the F out and I'm able to get those images. Mini sessions for me are fine, but it's super different photographer that you get. It's a photographer who has when I do my mini sessions, I set a timer. So like I meet the family and I go, okay, I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. And then we just go. And then the timer goes off and so often for me, the timer goes off right when things are getting good. And I'm like, oh, look at me sabotaging myself. Like that's basically what's happening. So when you are doing that, when you're over hyping and over marketing your mini sessions, then you're kind of telling your client like, wait for this. And you're not giving that the same excitement and clarity and guidance when it comes to your full sessions. So then your calendar becomes reactive instead of planned out. And the mini sessions somehow become the main product instead of what mini sessions should be for the majority of brands, which is a strategic entry point to then enter a marketing cycle to learn about your full sessions, which is really what you want. So I want you guys to really think about whether you're doing that. When you have minis, it's like loud. Here's the details. I see all this marketing. And then your full sessions are like, well, they're there. No, though that's the main thing. Okay. Sorry. A little squeaky there. Unclear positioning. Okay. So people don't know what to think when they arrive at what you're offering. That would be like a very clear sign that it's not going to convert them. If they don't know how they're supposed to, the next step they're supposed to take. The positioning is like very unclear. So if someone were to say your brand name, like if someone were to recommend you, how do you want them to describe you? If you don't have a position, then people who are saying next to you don't know what you stand for. It's just like anything. When you have a position, a job title, anything, any sort of parameter around your work, this is what positioning looks like. So when someone recommends you, what would you want them to say about you? She does beautiful motherhood studio work. She specializes in amazing outdoor adventurous family sessions. She specializes in in-home newborns. If the answer is vague, then there's a chance that the marketing is going to be vague. And this is true even if you have multiple offers. So if someone did a family session with me that was an adventure session, I would want them to describe the adventure session and have someone be able to arrive on my website and clearly and quickly see what that person was talking about and buy one of them for themselves. Same thing for my newborn. So that's why I worked so hard at my info pages and my homepage being so directive. So when you're trying to serve everyone, you're too scared to position. And you can position around multiple offers on one page, but you have to do it really clearly and as the expert of that session type. I can be an expert, which I am, at in-home newborn sessions. If as long as which I talked about a few episodes ago, putting this boundary in place of waiting for good light coming through the windows. Once I did that, the thing that was holding me back from feeling like an expert is going into people's literal closet-like rooms because there was no natural light and I was too afraid to ask for it, and then trying to have an ISO of 12,000 and then spending a lot of time editing and fixing, and I felt unexpertness coming through, which hurt my confidence. Now, because I put that boundary in place, I am an expert. If you have a newborn and you have a bed and you have a window, I am there and I will make it beautiful. If you know of a field and you want to come romp around in it, I will meet you there at golden hour and we will make a beautiful session. I am an expert in both things. It's my job to make that clear. It's not the client's job to hope that I'm an expert in one thing because I mentioned it one time on my website. So if you're feeling overwhelmed and you want more clarity and you want more simplicity, because that's what we're really going for. How do we make multiple offers still feel simple? What session do you want to be known for? These are the questions to ask. Which one brings my favorite type of clients? Which one fits my life and business goals? Everything else has to support those questions. Otherwise, you will burn out and end in, what's the word? You know it, resentment. You will be a sad, sad ball of resentment if you can't answer these questions or your session types don't answer these questions for you. So let's say that you are drowning in the complication. First of all, there's going to be grief as you let things go. And twice this, it was really in maybe January was mostly when I did this with 2 photographers who were in one-on-one mentoring. We let go of offers. It was hard. We're like, is this really what you want? No, it's crazy too, because the offer that is underperforming can often take up majority of your bandwidth because you're constantly thinking about how you're failing in that department. And if you were to just let it go, and maybe even if you put it on the back burner, be like, I'm going to try in 2027, but for right now, I want to hyper focus on one thing. You may get the clarity that you need. It may be an offer that you think would be really fun, but it's not actually. It's too unclear. People are not booking it. For the vast majority of family photographers, if I had them all in my hands and I could say, go forth, little people, with 1 or 2 offers, that would be so much easier for everyone. A seasonal offering and a main offer is, for the average marketing capacity that a family photographer has, just about as much as they can do. Because every new offer requires its own offer program for marketing that takes up a whole bunch more time. So you want to have ideally simple offers backed up by simple booking paths. That's what we would want. So what's the entry point? How are people learning about you? Seasonal minis can be an entry point to your business because that is how you can get people onto your email list. That should be ideally how majority of family photographers are thinking about minis. And then they're using the booking path of the full session, their actual money-making offer, to communicate with the mini people and convert them over. That would be a really smart way to use minis. Instead, it's what I said before. I know so many talented photographers who have overhyped and over-marketed their mini sessions to the point where that's really all they book anymore. And it's been a long day. It's been a long day. It's been a long while since they've actually been able to successfully book full sessions because the clarity is not there and the noise around their marketing is completely mini focused. So the idea is people are coming into your business through all sorts of different visibility points: social media, Pinterest, SEO, connection, referral. If they came in because they were nervous of price or they just wanted to get to know you, they come in through a mini, but then they're put into a system that's trying to get them to upgrade to a full session because that's where you really shine. That's true for me. That's true for a lot of photographers, right? And there's people that do minis and that's their business model and that's fine. And that's not who I'm talking to. I'm talking to the people who are stuck in the mini trap because that's what they've overhyped. So you need to start to limit the choices to create this clarity and simplicity. And I know that's going to be really scary, but it's going to be way easier for you to have one primary offer and one seasonal offer. Think about that simplicity if you arrived on the client side. And then you can create so much more targeted marketing work behind those 2 things instead of 27 things. So one of the things that you can do to help with this is to rename some of your offers around experience and not format. So instead of spring mini sessions, spring motherhood portraits. It's an entry point to your business. It's a defined, smaller entry point where they can get to know you. They're seeing you for 20 minutes. It's a lower price point, but they will be folded into your brand in a meaningful way and communicated with moving forward. So if you have, personality portraits from kids ages 3 to 10, if that's the name of the session, personality portraits, and then there's like a little colon, and then it says ages 3 to 10. That's an entry point into your brand that is specific, and it's not a mini session. You're not saying for this entire season of spring, I'm offering mini sessions, because then what happens is people are going to be like, well, we'll just keep waiting for her seasonal mini sessions that she seems to offer every year and scream at us about. And we don't know anything even about her full sessions. I know when you're hearing this, so many of you are like, oh, I'm doing that. And that's okay. It's just putting light to it to figure out what the issue is. So again, you want to be the guide. You want to be the guide. The person arrives on your website because they fell in love with something. You on the website want to think you're holding the door open for them of your little store and being like, welcome in. How can I help you? This session is best for you if you like this. If you are in this boat, I recommend this. Clients want a leader in this decision-making process. Just like when you go into, like the last time I needed a leader in a store was in Ace Hardware when I was trying to find, there's no way I could have found this one screw I needed for my license plate thing that had broken off. I don't know anything about screws. So I went in there and I wasn't going to, the leader was there. That's one of the things that makes Ace Hardware really great. The person was like, hi, what do you need? And I was like, I need a screw. And she was like, we held hands and skipped to the screw aisle. We didn't, but we could have, and I would have been overjoyed. That's how it needs to feel. More often it feels like, well, welcome in, I guess. If you want a mini, because that's all that anyone will book, here are those, but you kind of have to find it on the session booking page, and there's not a lot of information. And the main reason the mini is because it's only 20 minutes. That's how it feels for a lot of family photographer websites that I go on. So again, marketing often feels hard because we have created confusion. And it could feel much more streamlined if we introduce simplicity. You own this thing. You own this business. You don't have anybody else telling you what you have to do. You have to decide what you like. Go back to those questions. What do I want to be known for? What types of clients bring me the most joy? What type of session fits into my life and business goals? If it's minis, for some reason, if you're like, minis are it for me, I am a person who does really well in a 20-minute increment, then create the marketing path for those with clarity. Have it be your specialty. Have everyone be like, oh yeah, Jessica, we did a mini session with her, and her mini sessions are really good because X, Y, and Z. And then the person goes onto your website and you're the mini session lady of Nashville, and you upsell your galleries and you do a really good job, and that's your whole thing. But so often this sort of crudgely mini session, I made up that word, but I feel like it fits, is laying out in front, and you're talking about it nearly endlessly, but it's not even what you want to do. And it's not, and then by the end of this crudgely mini session run, you haven't even made your income goal. So now you're even filled with even more resentment, where you could have booked full sessions if you were more clear and you were simpler in what you were offering, and you set the person on the path they needed to be on within your marketing. Okay, so if you are excited, if this made you sad, don't be sad. Just know that everything is made up in the world. That's one thing that we could have learned from this past year. We make up everything. Like I was just talking to my daughter about her math. So math is a big problem for the Yates family. That's my last name, by the way. It's not Margot, but we suck. My husband's pretty good. Like he can definitely do a calculation here or there. The other three of us, the ladies, we are not the ones. Like we cannot handle it. I don't know we have the thing where like, if you tell me a phone number and you're like, the number is 206-545, in my brain, I go 554. That's what happens. It's a switch that happens in my brain. It's like dyslexia, but for numbers. We all kind of have that. So anyway, she's basically, my girls have to work so hard in school because we just know we're going to have to make up for the math grade. And this is a rant, so just be aware. But I feel like having creative kids, I so wish that earlier in the whole academic life, they could opt out of math after a certain point. I mean, we're graphing points where, people are using those things when they grow up. People who want to be engineers, people who are naturally good at math, they're using that math. My children are not going to be using it, and they're not spending a lot of time at school doing the things that they're really flourishing in, which then I think makes school seem less fun, because the things that they're really good at, they spend very, very little time doing. Whereas like they have friends who excel at math and love math, and so they spend a lot of time doing math and they feel happy. So this is what I'm talking about when it's everything is made up. We made up that whole system of school. I'm just ranting. I'm sorry. I do also feel like school as a whole is so far behind what is actually going to hit these kids in the face when it comes to the job reality market. When they graduate. Having a 16-year-old, I feel pretty close to that. She wants to be a writer and an illustrator. I'm like, what's the path? That's what I'm always thinking about. But then I have to remember that we are the autonomous people here. We make up the rules. I can help them create any path that they want. And that's the vision that I want them to have. That there doesn't have to be, you'd go on this stepping stone to this stepping stone to this stepping stone. If you can free yourself from the shackles of it, life can truly be whatever you want. And it's the same for your businesses. You can run your business any way that you want. It doesn't matter what the person in your town who's doing well is doing. If that doesn't bring you joy and help you reach your income goals, it doesn't matter what that person is doing. You can run your business any way you want. And part of the way that you will know how you want to run your business might be just a little bit of a clarity audit on what you have going on right now. So for tying it back into the story I just told, if my girls are already getting all this messaging about what college is and what you need to do, and this is the steps you follow, but the path that they want to do is different, how do you clear the messaging that's not serving you away? That's the only way you can even have the bandwidth to think of another plan. So if you've been told that you have to do this business a certain way and that's not serving you, I so often over the past year have met with so many family photographers who've been in some sort of system of how they should sell things that is not serving them. But they're in it because they were told that this is the pathway. The pathway to how you want your business to be run is completely up to you. I had a photographer in mentoring who literally operates like a traveling portrait artist. So she goes from town to town, renting out studios, and does her high key black and white portraits. That's what she does. Like, that is a business model that serves her so well. Majority of family photographers would not want that. But the only way she got clarity on that unique business model is because she decided that that's the path that she wanted to take. So that's why this anti-comparison is so important. Because there could be a business that's super simple and easy just on the other side of overwhelm that we have created for ourselves due to the stories of what we tell of what we have to do or what life has to look like or how systems have to work. So as a little rebel in life, I want you all to have a little bit of a rebel attitude towards this and say, like, could it be simpler? Am I creating confusion that is serving no one, especially me? So I hope that gives you guys some things to think about. Again, if you want to plan spring, we're doing 1 hour a day, February 24th, 25th, and 26th. Come join the membership if you want into that little cohort of learners, and I will see you next week.